Things continue to get more tense over at the border with just hours left before Title 42's expiration. And it's been fascinating because earlier this week, we told you that the GOP House was proposing a bill that would address border security. One of the things that it would have done, this bill, would be to reinstate President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy, which means that any immigrant who has to travel through Mexico to get to the U.S. to seek asylum has to first seek asylum in Mexico before there would be no need to come to the United States. If you're seeking asylum because you come from a horrible place and you're going to Mexico, seek asylum there. So it's been fascinating because Joe Biden said that he would veto that bill. He said, no, I will veto the bill. I'm not going to sign this. And by the way, he ran on a campaign promise of ending Remain in Mexico. Remember, he was like, we're the compassionate party. We can't do that. That's mean. You have those people in cages. That's mean. We can't do that. So he ran a campaign. He campaigned on ending the Trump way of dealing with the border. Well, now that it's really heated up for him, and after he has threatened to veto this bill, he just decided that he is actually going to, on second thought, we are going to go ahead and reinstate that Remain in Mexico policy so that migrants cannot apply for asylum in the United States because they need to apply for asylum in one of the other countries that they've gone to, like Mexico. Now, before I play for you guys the current situation at the border, which, again, you're going to want to watch this because it continues to get worse. I would just like to remind you guys, as we have this conversation, that recently all of the Democrat lawmakers have promised us that the border is secure. Watch.
It is my testimony that the border is secure.
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
We have taken unprecedented action over the past year and a half to secure our border.
And we have a process in place to manage migrants at the border. We're working to make sure it's safe and orderly and humane.
The border is closed.
We agree that the border is secure.
We're executing a comprehensive strategy to secure our borders.
One of our highest priorities is to ensure that we have a secure border, and that is what we are doing.
The border is secure.
It's fascinating. As much as they say the border is secure, we keep seeing just swaths of people, immigrants, coming all the way down to the border. And the thing is like they're crossing. So I want to play for you this drone footage from earlier today showing an enormous line of migrants trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border in Brownsville, Texas. Bill Malugin is down there with Fox, and he's like, this stretches as far as my eye can see. This particular footage is from a drone, but down on the ground, he's like, I can't even see past where there is no people. Like, I just see people, and it is an incredibly long line. Also, per CBP sources, Border Patrol apprehended more than 10,300 migrants who crossed illegally yesterday. I want to remind you guys, when I use the word apprehended, that doesn't mean they're sending them back or confining them. It just means they're processing them, okay? So they apprehended more than 10,300 migrants who crossed illegally yesterday. Monday also broke the 10,000 threshold. Bill Malugin says, I'm told these are the highest single-day totals ever recorded, and it's expected to go even higher after Title 42 drops tomorrow. Well, look, say what you will about Greg Abbott, and I've said all the things. I feel like there are few people who have been as critical of Greg Abbott as I have been. One of the people maybe who have been more critical is my best friend who ran against him in the primary. But to his credit...
I did not run against him in the primary.
Shut up, Jason. To his credit, better late than never, I guess. I want to show you some footage out of Brownsville. Finally, Greg Abbott sent Texas National Guard to the border. He deployed them. They put up razor wire fencing, and they are all standing there preventing the they're migrants at this point, from crossing the river and illegally entering the country. Why the hell was this not done sooner? It's that is it. It's really that easy, guys. It's really that easy. There is a border for a reason. You see those little lines on the map that indicate this is Texas, this is the United States, this is Mexico. All you have to do is actually put a border there and enforce it. It's really that easy. I wonder how long it takes Border Patrol to be instructed by the Biden regime to go over there and, with force, remove the barriers.
Yeah. I mean, how does this concept apply to anybody else in normal life? When you show up to your gym in the morning, if you got to get to work early, you show up to your gym, it's not open. There's a few people hanging out in the parking lot. Okay, but they're not lining up at the doors to get in early or it's closed. People are waiting, but they're showing up. You're waiting in that parking lot because you know it's gonna open.
Right.
We're gonna be able to get in. And this whole nonsense that we're being fed, that the border is closed, the border is secure, then why is everybody lining up? Why is there, and this has been going on for months at a very heavily increased rate. I've been to the border. I've seen all of the immigrants under the bridge. I've seen the way that they're treated. This is a human rights crisis in how many of them are being treated because it's not being they're not saying, we're stopping this now. Go home, you're not getting in. And because of that, we're seeing children thrown over fences. You're seeing people come in illegally and destroy the property of property owners in setting barns on fire that can spread to the main residence of where people are living. It's a very serious issue. And they're hiding behind this idea that it's a humanitarian issue because they can't get in. The truth is it's a humanitarian issue because it's not being enforced. They're having this expectation that they're going to get in, and many of them do, because of a lack of leadership in America, and it needs to end.
Yeah.
I always go back to Inauguration Day, that big spectacle where they had that pile of executive orders that were shooting down all the Trump-era policies, Remain in Mexico being one of them. Title 42 was really the only thing keeping some of these people back. This is entirely Biden manufactured. Entirely. Just look at some of the numbers are absolutely insane leading up to this week when they knew Title 42 was going on. But they were approaching 8,000 crossings a day. 27,000 of these illegals were in facilities on our side of the border. They were saying once they hit 29,000, which I'm assuming they probably have by now, I don't know. But once they hit around that number, they were just going to start releasing them out at supermarkets, bus stops, places where they said were safe, release areas. Imagine being in some of these border towns where you have thousands and thousands of people just getting dropped off at the local supermarket. What the heck are you going to do at that point? Now, those are the numbers on this side. On the other side of the border, for the people on the Mexican side waiting for Title 42 to drop, there were estimated 700,000 migrants waiting to cross. 700,000. And I was looking at videos and there was buses that were all the way down in places like Guatemala and places like that were lining up in these giant bus lines waiting to go down. Those were, I think the last figure I saw was like 1.3 million. I mean, this is nuts. And they have no plan at all on how to handle the situation.
Yeah.
What's funny is, this reversal on Remain in Mexico. I mean, it's basically a giant mea culpa, a giant admittance that, okay, yes, we were entirely political. Yes, there were measures that do work that Trump did. Now we're admitting it. They're not going to say that out in the open, but these actions are actually is what's saying that. You talk about just the things that the Biden administration has had the Custom and Border Patrol people do. They have to be so demoralized. You know about that app that they have, that CBP One app?
Yeah.
I was looking at this video of this one guy who was in Mexico. He's in a hotel in Mexico. And he just walked down into the lobby. And there was migrants from Dagestan, Russia, other Eastern European countries. That cannot be, just imagine some of the migrants that are coming from those places.
And they walked here?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. It wasn't a big transnational operation at all. But they're on these apps and they're applying for their asylum. They're getting a court date, which of course they're not going to meet that court date. But then they just walk across the border, show that they applied for it. They're gone. That's now the system right now. We are screwed. I really don't know. This is going to help. But what do you think those 700,000 people that are sitting on the border right now are just going to say, oh, screw it, we're going home now?
Right.
No, they're going to find another way in.
Right.
And we know, and they know, and we know, the Biden administration is just going to sweep it all under the rug.
Which, again, I don't think that this could be stated enough. The obvious compassionate side here is, Caleb, as you pointed out, You tell these people not to come. Do not make the dangerous journey. Do not send your kids with a coyote or a cartel member. Do not do that. They will be raped along the way. If they make it here, they will have severe trauma. They will be partnered with someone to use them, right? Oh, look, I have a child. Here, we want the child to come in. I mean, it is so uncompassionate of the left to continue to perpetuate this idea. You guys can come on in. The border's secure. Just kidding, it's open. Come on. It is the most. It's not compassionate to the children and to all of the other people who are making the dangerous journey. It's not compassionate to Americans because now we have an influx of crime and all these other things. Yeah, I said it. And it's like, who is it compassionate to? I know, the cartel and the coyotes who are making a freaking killing off of this.
Yep. And, what is needed is a comprehensive plan that people actually stick to, but actually taking the issue seriously. If you go to the border and you see the big, giant, beautiful wall that Trump, started to put up, it's massive. It's very large. How was it treated in the media over the past 6 years? It was laughed at, it was mocked, it was scorned, it was called racist, it was all these sort of things. You look at the Bush wall, it's a little bit, it's quite a bit shorter. And then, what President Biden has failed to do is enact any sort of leadership on this to protect Texans, to protect the border, to actually try to come up with a solution that has measurable results. Instead, they know, hey, one term is 4 years. We can campaign on this, we can talk about it. Very few people actually do the investigation to get into it and find out that this is failing miserably. And we're gonna be able to tell the bulk of the American voters that, hey, the border is secure, ignore all the Republicans and listen to us. And it's gonna start affecting the country. Maybe it already, is in many ways of measuring that, but we're not seeing leadership.
One big problem is that people like you point out, Governor Abbott, just now doing something about it is because far too many times these Republicans don't really give a crap about it either. Oh, they love to talk about it. Right. They love to say, oh, it's a crisis, but you never notice they never actually do anything about it. They never actually do anything about immigration reform. They don't care about immigration reform, and neither do the Democrats. They like to use this crisis, and it is a crisis. It's a very valuable crisis to both sides. But taking advantage of everyone involved, that's just a part of the package.
That's why so many of these problems are not solved. It's because the value is in the arguing. The value is not in the solution.
The fear, the outrage.
And so, we're doing this to ourselves in America. This is a self-inflicted problem that we're, not demanding solutions and moving forward as a nation. And it's on the citizens. Like, this is our job to demand solutions, answers, wrap it up in a bow and move on.
Yeah. I know we got to go to break here, but I honestly, personally, I don't see this ending any other way than, I'm just going to be blunt here. You're talking about all of these people who have already come. Take out the people who are going to come tomorrow, right? Which we know we hear are going to be record numbers of people. By the way, we will have Chip Roy joining us tomorrow, so make sure that you tune in for that. But even just the record numbers of people who have already entered the country, as they continue to move through the system and move more to the interior of the country, this is going to be a total drain on our financial, on our economic system. I don't see this ending any other way than everyone finally going, okay, you know what? You got to round them up and they're going home. I really don't. I don't see this ending any other way than that. It's unsustainable as a country. It is unsustainable. There is no other answer.
It shows how long we've been dealing with this
Yes.
issue. Reagan had to come to the table and propose amnesty. I mean, the Reagan administration is having the same problem and faced with the same, what do you do?
Right.
How do you do this?
Right.
And the problem is not being solved.
Yeah.
If you like that clip, there is plenty more where that came from. Click the link in the description below to subscribe to the News and Why It Matters YouTube channel to watch the full episode.